My name is Dana Busch, and I'm here today. I'm actually doing a wonderful in-person event at Medicine Man Gallery, and I feel very blessed to have them representing my work. And I thought that I would have a bit of a conversation today to kind of really explain everything that goes into the design and process of doing my jewelry. First of all, I'm a self-trained jeweler. I have a creative background, but really started getting into this about 10 years ago and have been really fortunate enough to have this transition into a career for me. So I've always been drawn to texture and color and the abstraction of design, and so my jewelry is really indicative of that. Nearly everything I do is one of a kind, and it's all intricate wire work. And so usually how I start when I go to construct a piece is I'm working with, so for example, with this pair of earrings with this base stone here. And what I'm looking for is complementary stones that will really bring out the colors in the central drop. So as far as my little small stones go, I have about 3,000 containers of those. And so my design process is quite active. So with this pair of earrings, and the base on this is actually a very interesting material. It's called Rosarita, which cannot be found anymore because it actually is the result of a smelting process in gold mines from Alaska, where the sand that was used mixed with the offshoot of the gold during the production process to actually create the material. So with these, and really kind of the initial process with any of these, is I start with the central drop and then I decide what ear wire is going to look best with it. And I get those attached, and hiding kind of under all these stones is a very small chain. And then I go over to my shelf where I have a very open bookcase that has all of my small stones in little clear containers, and it's organized by size, type, and color. And what I do is I then start to gather what I would consider a palette of materials. And what I will do is I will start to pull them together in terms of color, size, and type, and shape. And I will start to individually put some of these stones on these little pinheads. And what I will start to do is I will start to hang the gemstones off of the stone that's been suspended on the ear wire to really start to create the design. And on some of these, a stone might be hanging off of the side of another stone to create the pattern in terms of really pushing the design in a certain direction. And so the process of how I come up with the clusters is really that active way of really kind of hanging and creating a relationship with the stones. And so once I've figured out what my design pattern is, then I start to gather all the individual stones. And again, with all of these, because all of these stones are hand cut and they're natural materials, as much as they may all look the same in that container, they're all different. And so I'm very particular with looking for stones that match exactly. So I will handpick every one of the little stones that goes on the earring, and I will pair them so that with each earring I get a lot of uniformity. And what I will then do is I will get the design laid out in a mirrored fashion for the earrings, so that when I start to wire them on, I know where they're going, I know where they're hanging, and that's how I get that really uniform look with all the natural materials. And something that I'm also known for is I also do the clusters on all the backs. So a lot of this for me too is, as much as the designs are abstract, there's a lot about harmony and symmetry and kind of this balance. And really what I'm looking for with the end all piece, which is again a lot why I feel I consider my jewelry art, is I'm really looking for that overall relationship between the materials. and how they all come together, and how the uniqueness of their colors and their shapes and their cuts really kind of create an overall look with the piece. And this one is, again, no different a process, but just if you were to get up really close and see in here all of the tiny, tiny little stones. With this one, with the chain, there are stones that are kind of layered on top of stones, and they're hanging in a certain way. I really kind of consider this my spiral pattern because of the nature of how the stones are wired onto the chain, where it's a very uniform process of going front, side, back, side to create this spiral pattern that goes upwards with this. So, and with this one too, you have some really beautiful colors that come off the opals. So, you know, as far as my ability to be creative and dynamic, because of the variety of materials I have, I'm very, very fortunate with that. So I sit down and, you know, grab the materials and just kind of go. And my necklaces, so this is an example of one of the ones that I like to do. And something that I find is really important with, in particular, the necklaces when I design them, is I'd like to give my clients a lot of variety within the piece. So being able to wear a necklace in several different ways with several different links, which will really accommodate different looks or different necklines on pieces. And so with this one, the way it can creatively work is that this clasp here can go into any of these little links. So again, with each one of those aspects, you can create several different looks. But what you can also do with this piece is create what I call a scarf loop, where you make a loop like this and you drop the stone through. And again, you can make it even shorter than that. So for me, again, like I said, the creative variety, which is, you know, also about that play of figuring out how to come up with dynamic ways to create jewelry. And that's something that's also been really important to me, is that people look at my work and they really feel like it's something that they haven't seen before. And I think because I'm able to have such a variety of materials, and the other thing is I choose not to follow trends. So I'm never really looking at what society says I should be designing. I'm looking at what really excites me and drives my creativity. Working in mostly one of a kind, I don't have to worry about volume. So when I'm out sourcing materials, I, you know, just get what really speaks to me. And so the variety of what I have, the uniqueness of what I have, and the fact that I really let my beautiful materials be my inspiration as opposed to something from outside, I think also really adds to the ability to create something really unique and different. And really, another way that I describe myself, which I think is unique for a jewelry artist, is that I really consider myself actually a sculpturalist, where what I'm creating is a piece of sculpture that's in a very small format that people wear on the body instead of put in a living room or in a garden. And I think the other thing that has been really meaningful and important to me is the way that the pieces make individuals feel, because I really do feel that my jewelry has a bigger intention behind it, and that people are drawn to it for a reason, and that there is something really personal about it. And that, again, for me, I feel is that distinguishing factor from art versus accessories, that, you know, people who choose to invest in a piece of my jewelry, that there is a deeper personal piece to it for them, and a real love, much like the commitment of buying a beautiful piece of art to hang on your wall. My pieces aren't something that are really kind of considered an afterthought. Oftentimes, that's really, in my opinion, what an accessory is. And a lot of times people are buying jewelry in clothing stores where, you know, they've bought an outfit and now they want something to go with it. Where really with my pieces, it's, you know, I really feel it's a personal journey for someone, and it's something that they really feel intended to have, and it really is more the central point. So it's been a wonderful opportunity to meet a lot of amazing people, and to really have them appreciate the work, which is, you know, very humbling and means a lot to me. And again, to be in a setting like the art gallery where I'm surrounded by individuals coming in who have that appreciation and sense and that interest in, you know, how something is fabricated, and understanding that the process of doing art isn't simple and it's complex, and they're interested in learning about that and understanding what goes into a piece. Because I think something that people start to understand when I talk about the work is also the whole process and all the materials and what it gets, you know, everything that goes into just making a piece. But then they can also see some of those distinctions that, until I would tell them about the subtleties of hand-picking stones and mirroring the design, that adds to the uniqueness, but it's subtle enough that unless it's explained, they don't really know that it's there. So this is just a wonderful venue to be able to really also have a conversation and educate people about the process and the unique materials.